Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannon's Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.
Hello and welcome to the first episode filmed in 2016 of Classic Restos. Sponsors are important. Cop a load of this.
It's thanks to Shannon's. Ask about multi-policy discounts and sign up for the Shannon's Club. Call 134646 for a quote and see more at shannons.com.au. For oils, coolants, additives and technical assistance, Oil Right, use Penrite. And Hare and Forbes has the range. Buy online at machineryhouse.com.au.
Well, here we are. It's January, and it doesn't take long for the car scene to slip into overdrive and start to rev up the new year. Now, this event today is another all-first for Classic Restos. So it's a trip to Drysdale in Victoria. Welcome to the 2016 Autopro Classic Car Show. So, here we are. Everyone that can make it decides to turn up in the Drysdale Recreation Reserve. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, oh, another car show. But it's more than that. You see, every time another event is introduced, it opens up new parameters. We get to see vehicles that we may have not seen before. There are classic bikes at this event, which are always moving time capsules in themselves. And of course, even the Shannon's Super Rig turns up. And that is another draw card, hands down. So it's enough talk from me. It's my job now to get around and bring you what I can of this year's Drysdale Classic Car event. Well, first cab off the rank here today, and pardon the pun, because back in the day these cars were cabs. We have Brian. Hello Brian, how are you?
Good, Fletch. How are you?
Great, mate, great. You have got a sensational 1968 XT Falcon. What a gem. Where did you find this?
Oh, I bought it off a guy, from a local guy who'd done a lot of work on it, and it has had a few previous owners that have done bits and pieces to it. More importantly, the original owner of the car was a gentleman by the name of Reg Hickey.
A football coach, right?
Yeah, he's famous around Geelong for his coaching and playing back in the 50s, and for his television work on Channel 7 or Channel 9 or whichever one he was on back in those days, yeah. So he was the original owner, and his name and everything is in the owner's manual from when it was originally purchased.
You've got that manual too. That is just absolutely sensational to have that history. Talk about, I mean, you know, this car belonging to a football coach. Boy, has this show today kicked off to a great start.
Yeah, it has. There's some classic vehicles around, all right, and yeah. And anyway, I've.
So where'd you find it? I mean, was it sitting in a shed? What's the deal there?
No. It was. A friend of my son's found he had the car, and I'd been looking around for something like this for quite a while, and a lot of the cars that you get around now have all been altered and had suspensions changed and wheels changed and all the rest of it, and I wanted to get something that was very original, and this is very original now. Well, I've taken it back to, there was a few alterations on it, but I've taken it back to its original state in terms of suspension and motor and all the rest of it. So
it's good to see the 3.6 litre badge there on the side of the guard supporting the 221 cubic inch 6. They were a great thing. They were unbreakable. They certainly did a good job, didn't they?
They sure did, and this car still runs like it would have 30 years ago or 40 years. It's 46 years old now, and it still runs beautifully. And
It's good to see little things like the odd crack in the dash pad. I mean, although there's been a lot of work done to the car, it still just shows the evident signs of its age, which is really nice.
Fletch, whilst it looks pretty good from the outside, it's had a lot of work done on the outside. We haven't touched the interior. That's still in its original state.
Yeah.
So that would be the next project for myself or
An up-and-coming person.
Yeah.
Now, on that note, I don't usually do this on Classic Restos. Classic Restos is not a show about selling people's cars. But we can't help but notice that Brian's car is for sale. And the first thing that hits me like a ton of bricks is that a person with passion has to buy a car like this. So it is for sale, and if you're quick, you never know, you might score this beautiful Falcon from Brian.
Yep. It's. I'd like to see it go to a good home, not to a home where it's going to be chopped up to make a hot rod or jacked up for anything like that.
That'd be sacrilege. You couldn't do that. Brian, just want to thank you. First interview here today. I hope you have a great day here, Brian. Good on you.
Thanks, Fletch. Thanks for your interest in the car, and thanks for what you do for the people who are the enthusiasts.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. All right, time for Vince now on today's show. Hello, Vince.
How you going, Fletch?
Good, mate. Good. Time for a Holden. A beautiful 1966 HR Prem. Something about these cars. You love it, don't you?
Of course I do. I've got 3 of them.
Now, your thoughts this morning on driving to the event?
Just in heaven, Fletch. Just driving away in a world of my own. Just takes all your worries away, and they're a pleasure to drive.
Geez, they're therapeutic, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, good for the soul, mate.
There's just something about driving an old car, especially what Vince has done here. It's been reconditioned. It's better than new. How long has it been on the road, Vince?
Well, I bought it in 2005. As soon as I got it home, I stripped it, and I had it back on the road like this in 2006, a full rest day.
Yeah.
So I did it in my little tin shed at home.
See, that's what Classic Restos is all about. Guys that take on this work at home. And in most cases, it's not as though they've got a trade background either. They get in and have a go and look at this beautiful car here. Now, with these Premiers, I know I always bang on about the interiors, but I mean, there's something about these Premier interiors back in the day.
Yeah, they're pretty advanced for their age, with all the buttons and the stitching. A lot of work goes into them.
Comfortable car to ride in?
Yeah, beautiful. Just floats.
Yeah. The thing is, what we do, we go back as kids to what we remember. And is this the sort of car when you're a little bloke that you can remember getting around in?
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I remember when they first came out, my dad was a concreter, and I went to work with him, and he was telling his mate, because he had an EK Holden at the time, and he said, "Look, I really like these HRs. I love the way the blinkers fit into the grille. I just like the style. I might even go and buy one." But no, he kept driving the EK, but had a soft spot in his heart. And that sort of travelled on to me.
And you look up front to the trusty 186 as well, often alluded to as one of the best red engines that Holden ever made, and so simplistic. How beautiful are they to work on? We've got the Strongberg carby there on the right-hand side looking from the front. The Dizzy's easy to get at. The fuel pump's easy to get at. The brake master cylinder's easy to get at. I mean, they were just a dream, weren't they?
Yeah, not many tools in the toolbox, Fletch. Just a 1/2 inch, 7/16, 5/8, 3/4.
It does everything.
A bit of a shifter and a screwdriver.
Yeah. Good on you, Vince. Thanks for bringing the car along. To think this car has been on the road now 8 years?
06. Yeah, we're going on the 10th year this year.
Yeah, right. Okay.
June.
All right. It's just a testament too. Isn't it nice to be able to recondition a car, not drive it every day, go all these years down the track, and it still looks the same as the day that you finished it. Good on you, Vince. Well done.
Thanks, Fletch. All the best.
Good on you, mate. You're watching the Drysdale Classic Car Show, and you're seeing it first on Classic Restos. Don't go back. We'll be right away.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's,
We've also got Shannon's Home and Contents cover.
which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be.
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
In 1926, Australia's Penrite Oil Company was established. Almost 90 years of research, development and refining under the harsh Australian conditions has made Penrite Oil what it is today. Precision, performance, reliability and protection. Championship winning products. Trust Penrite.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Hare and Forbes Machinery House have showrooms around Australia and New Zealand that will have you browsing for hours. See the largest range of industrial and workshop DIY tools. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au. It's time now for a British car on today's show. We have Colleen. Hello, Colleen.
Hi, Fletch. How are you?
I'm great. Tell us about your little gem here.
It's a 1953 sedan. I bought it for $500. My sister was going to strip it, so I decided I'd do it little bit by little bit to restore it. I spent every Saturday for 10 months doing all the dirty work. Rubbing back and all that sort of thing. And my younger brother, I sucked him into respraying it for me.
How awesome's that? Bit of girl power on today's show. And not just girl power, but you've done a lot of the nitty-gritty yourself. Now, with the Morris, where does it go back with you, Colleen? Was it a spontaneous decision because it came along, or have you always fancied these cars?
Spontaneous. Yeah, it just came along because my sister was doing one up and she said, well, what are you going to do? Buy it? And I said, okay, so I did.
So you just couldn't stand to see something happen to it, so at least you took it into your custody and here we are.
Yes. I didn't like it because it was too good condition and I didn't want it stripped, and I said, no, I'll buy it, and I've had it 7 years.
Colin, it's an extremely original car. What can you tell us about history? Do you know anything about the past owners or anything?
Apparently it was in a used car yard. Someone had bought it and they did a little bit of work, and people in Leopold bought it for their kids to learn in. It wasn't cool enough. So it wasn't cool enough for the kids to drive in, so they left it underneath a pine tree, and that's where we picked it up.
Yeah, as you do, just leave it underneath a pine tree. Look, it's good to see quite a few British cars here today. It's a nice row along here, and thought I'd pick on you. Thanks for bringing your car along. I mean, they're so symbolic to the UK, aren't they? I mean, when you think of a British classic car, these are the shapes that you think of.
Yeah, everybody likes them. They draw a crowd, and we have been around Tasmania in it, and everybody loves them.
And what powers it up front, Colleen?
Oh, it's only standard, just a standard motor, 850 sort of thing.
There you go, you got that right.
Yeah, so I got that right.
Good on you, well done. And just before I let you go too, got a comment on the interior. I just think you've done a nice job in there.
Okay, yeah, well, it's original. I haven't touched it. So someone's obviously looked after it.
And a 1953 car.
Yes, very nice, but a lot of fun.
Colleen, wonderful having you on today's show, as I alluded to earlier. A little bit of girl power on this week's episode.
No worries. Thank you very much, Fletch, and thanks for your time, and enjoy the day.
You're welcome. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you.
Time for something extraordinary on today's show. We have Lockie with a 1935 Dodge. How you doing, Lockie?
I'm well, thank you, Fletch. How are you?
Good, mate. Tell us a story with this old girl.
This old girl started its life in northern South Australia, in a shed for approximately 40 years. I was fortunate enough to get hold of it, and about half a dozen years ago, and spent the last 4 years restoring it to what it is, unpainted, and here it is, what it is today.
Isn't it remarkable to see a vehicle like this in its, it's pre-restored state? I mean, it's a time capsule to the fullest degree, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had many comments when I'm going to paint it, and I made one comment to one woman that I did, and she said I was a terrible painter, so we might leave it at that, I think.
Yeah, I think it'll all buff out, no problem.
Yeah, I hope so.
And obviously, too, on a Fletch tour, we get an opportunity to find out more about the history of the Dodge brothers, and it's great to see this 1935 Dodge here today. In terms of history and life, had it had a hard time ever? To me, it doesn't look that way.
No, I believe it's pretty much what it is. Underneath it's pretty straight, and I think bar the basic mechanical repairs, it's as is, and it's pretty good.
What powers it, Lockie?
6-cylinder side valve engine, about 80 horsepower, rated 80 horsepower, so it scoots along quite well.
They were always big in the capacities, weren't they?
Yeah, they called them black iron in the States, and I think that's half the reason to pull the weight that they are.
Yeah. Yeah, the old story, a lot of old guys will tell you back to first gear and they'll go up any hill and pull anything.
I think that's a fair comment, Fletch. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are you going to do with it, Lockie? You're keeping it as is?
As is, as I said previously, we're not going to paint it. Yep. We just drive it around. We bring it out, let people appreciate what it is, and it's quite a feature of these sort of shows.
So, mate, keeping the patina look, have you hit it with a coat of clear yet?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was lucky enough to get into a crowd in Moorabbin that sell a special type paint, which I did yesterday. Hasn't attracted many bees. I say it's wax based, but we'll see how it goes. But no, Fletch, it's as it is, and that's how it's going to stay.
Good on you, mate. Attracting the bees. It's tell you what, it's number one in the honey pot here. I tell you, in terms of the oldest car here today, I'd say it'd have to be up there.
I think so. I saw an earlier T model over 100 years old, which was fantastic. Yeah. A lot of newer cars here. I have a bit of a passion for these older type vehicles, Fletch, you should appreciate. And I love it.
Can you tell us anything about the box on the back?
The box in the back's a long story, but I'll give you a short answer. It was found on a nature strip in Gippsland, and our friends who have a farm in Gippsland picked it up, and they beat their neighbours to pick it up by about a minute and a half. So I put it on the back, and it's been on the back for about 3 years. And I had it at a show at Geelong, and a lady came along and said, we're from Wonthaggi, and that name on that is a relative of mine.
Isn't that amazing? And look, you know, we're not saying for any moment that you're an old bloke, Lockie, but you're considering future transport ahead because you've got the walking stick on the back there as well.
Yeah, I thought I'd just tap it off. It's our aged group that looks at it is quite elderly, so I thought that goes quite well.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I think it is, Fletch. Thank you.
Good on you, mate. And thank you for sharing this car with us today. Doesn't get much more cool than that. A 1935 Dodge in its patina state. It's awesome. Thanks, mate.
Thanks very much for your time.
I know I bang on about this, but you have to get yourself on a Fletch tour. Have a look at this.
There is nothing quite like a Fletch tour. Carlisle All Ford Nationals, GM Nationals and Chrysler Nationals await you.
On a Fletch tour, you don't have to worry about a thing.
I can't believe how good it's been.
Experience Route 66.
We're definitely coming back to do Route 66.
Or choose the Detroit tour, attending the Woodward Dream Cruise.
On a Fletch tour, every day just gets better and better.
You've got to do something in your life, you've got to do a Fletch tour.
There are 5 Fletch tours. See fletchtours.com or contact All Things Travel, Lara.
Penrite, Australian-made, family-owned and operated. Make premium quality engine and racing oils, warranty-approved coolants, automatic transmission and manual gear oils, a complete range of engine and fuel additives, heavy-duty and industrial products for every application. Visit penriteoil.com for more information. Penrite, Australian-made for Australian conditions since 1926.
If you need a new piece of equipment for your workshop, you need Hare and Forbes Machinery House. From a garage jack through to a lathe, Hare and Forbes has the range. And Hare and Forbes Machinery House are Australian owned, established since 1930. You will be greeted by friendly, helpful staff, and you can buy from anywhere online at machineryhouse.com.au. Hare and Forbes Machinery House. Find your closest store at machineryhouse.com.au.
Every weekend around Australia, motoring enthusiasts get together to share their passion for cars and bikes. It's a passion that brings us together. All sorts of people, all sorts of cars and bikes, from the classics of today to the classics of tomorrow. At Shannon's, we understand enthusiasts, so when it comes to insurance, it's got to be Shannon's. Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 13 46 46 for a quote.
With me now, we got Mark, the major sponsor of this fantastic show here today, Autopro at Drysdale. Mark, well done.
Thanks, Fletch. Thanks for coming along and supporting the event.
That's okay. It's my first one. Now, just give us a quick rundown. How long have you guys been doing this for?
This is the 5th year. Originally, it started up at our shop in the middle of Drysdale as a cute little event, and it's blossomed into what we see today. We've had about 600 vehicles here today.
Well, that's good. Local Auto Pro store getting behind such an event, 5 years running. It's growing each year, which is a great sign, like a lot of other car shows as well. It just shows so much growth in what we stand for.
And that's right. It just gets more and more popular each year. We've seen constant growth, and we also have a drive night on the night before, classic cruise. We go down around the peninsula, and all the campers come out and they're waving and shouting, and everyone's tooting their horns. Absolutely fantastic night, and in combination with the show today, just awesome.
Good on you, Mark. You have some great names behind you as well. Obviously, Penrite too, being a stockist there, major sponsor of the show. You know, without these sponsors and the support, this stuff just it doesn't happen.
No, that's right. And also the patrons that come along. Some beautiful cars here, just hours and hours spent the work on it. You know what it's like. And it's just great to see them come down there and interact with each other. It feels like a big family day out to me, and that's what it is.
It's a big reflection, and also to you at home watching as well, play a massive part in this. It's a gold coin donation here today, and the amount of support from people off the street giving those gold coins, it's a great feeling.
Well, that's what the community is very generous. You put on an event like this, they appreciate it. I mean, I'm not saying it's nothing. It's a contribution to the community, and people love doing that sort of thing.
You know, when you've got an event and you get the Shannon Super Rig turn up, that's a statement.
That's it. Those guys have supported us for the last few years, and just great for them to get on board and help us out. And like events like this aren't cheap. I mean, you know, you got to pump into it, and then what do you get out of it? The turnout today.
Nick's a great guy. I mean, he's as generous as anything. He's the driver of the Shannon's rig. He'd make everybody here a cup of coffee if he had his way.
Yeah, he would. And I think he camped in that thing overnight, so I said, keep an eye on everything for us, yeah.
Just digressing, Nick with the Super Rig, when he goes home, he parks the truck out the front and he doesn't go inside, he stays in his truck. Now, if that's not being devoted, I want to know what is. Now, Mark, in terms of numbers, the show over 5 years, it's probably safely doubled, possibly tripled, right?
Well, we're looking at, originally when it was held in up the street, you're looking at 30, 40 cars, and then got too big for that. Down to the park here with the local cricket club, the support and run the bar and the facilities for us today. It's just blossomed. You're looking at 150 the next year, 250 the next year, 400 next year. Now we're looking at 600. So I can't wait till next year to see what it brings.
Good on you, Mark. Not only do you own the Autopro store here in Drysdale, you're a car guy as well. Tell us quickly about your Camaro.
It's a 69 big block Camaro, 396, 4-speed. Original engine, driveline, tuxedo black vinyl roof, and it's got a very unusual yellow houndstooth interior, which is original to the car.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Shocks a lot of people. Shocked me when I first saw it, but I fell in love with it and had to buy it.
Well, it's just so radically different. I guess you got to like it.
Yeah, and it creates. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it creates comment, and it's what I really like about it.
Mark, thanks for the invitation here for this great event, mate. Congratulations.
Awesome job, Fletch. Thanks, and see you next year, mate.
Thank you. Time for a custom car on today's episode. We have Peter. How are you, Peter?
Very good, Fletch.
That's good, mate. I love this. I love this car. Appropriate plate, tin 34. We've got a 34 Ford, fully customised. Mate, where did you start with this?
Started quite a few years ago. I'm an old panel beater, like me steel cars, and I picked this up. I looked around quite a lot and couldn't find anything. Went over to America, couldn't find anything in my price range. Turned up at the Bendigo swap meet, and there it was, just a bare shell, and that's where I started from.
It doesn't matter what angle you look at this car, it looks sensational. The running boards, sweeping fenders over the front wheels, the louvers in around the hood. I mean, the amount of work that's gone into that alone.
Yeah, very lot of hours and a lot of work.
But standing at the front of the car, Peter, and having a look at it front on, what a thing.
Yeah, it is different.
Do you go back a long way with hot rods yourself personally, or is it something that you just decided to do? Tell us a story there.
Well, being an old panel beater, I started many years ago when I was an apprentice, worked for an old panel shop that built a lot of old hot rods back in 73, and just progressed, built a fair few cars and moved on from there.
What powers it up front?
This one is a fuel-injected Chev, crate motor 350.
Now, I don't want to sound like a dumb question here, but a 34 Ford, it's an iconic shape. Why have you got the Chev V8 in there?
Well, all my cars I've had, they've all had Chevs in them that I built, and I just like sticking with the Chevs. Yep. They work for me.
Yep. Look, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's the best of both worlds. Doesn't matter what size Chev V8 you've got, they never build a bad one. They're a great V8 engine. You've got the iconic 34 Ford shape. Takes us now to the interior. How comfortable is that? Is it a comfortable car to drive?
It is very comfortable. Being around quite a few years, I've learnt what's comfortable, what you can do long miles in. We travel all over the country, and yeah, it's very comfortable. It's airbagged, has a good comfortable seat. It's got everything you want.
It's probably the type of car where I guess now and again you have to pinch yourself and you think, wow, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, there's no way I would have a car like this, but now you're at the stage of your life where you do, and it makes it extra special, doesn't it?
That it does, yeah, very good.
Good on you, Pete. Thanks for being on today's show. And I tell you what, you're going to love it. This 34 Ford, well done, mate.
Thanks very much, Fletch.
You're welcome. Well, how's that? A paddock full of induction, breathing in tons of cubic atmosphere. The 2016 Drysdale Classic Car Show. And you've seen it first on Classic Restos. No matter where you're watching from, until next week, please ride and drive safe. I'm Fletch, and I thank you very much for watching. You can like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Classic Restos TV and watch catch-up episodes at shannons.com.au. Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannons Insurance, Penrite Oil, Hare and Forbes Machinery House, and Pace Farm Eggs.